Everything was perfect until she looked me straight in the eyes, took a deep breath, and said something that made the entire restaurant disappear around me. The laughter. The music. The warm glow of the candles. Everything faded. All I could hear were 7 words. I have 2 kids, so feel free to walk away now. The sadness hidden behind those words hit harder than the words themselves. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't an apology. It sounded like a wound. Like something she had been forced to say too many times before. Before we continue, if you believe kindness matters, if you believe people deserve second chances, take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who needs a reminder that love comes in unexpected forms, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories. I wish I could tell you I instantly knew what to say. I didn't. I just sat there staring at her. Because until that moment, everything really had been perfect. Her name was Emily. I met her on a rainy Tuesday afternoon at a small bookstore downtown. The kind of place that smelled like old pages and fresh coffee. I was browsing through a shelf of mystery novels when I noticed someone reaching for the exact same book. Our hands touched. We both laughed. It was one of those movie moments people don't believe actually happen in real life. Yet somehow, it happened to me. She had bright eyes, a warm smile, and an energy that made conversations effortless. We ended up talking for almost an hour beside that bookshelf. Then another hour at the cafe next door. When we finally left, I realized I hadn't looked at my phone once. That never happened. Over the next few weeks, we kept seeing each other. Coffee dates turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks. Long walks turned into late-night phone calls that stretched until neither of us wanted to hang up. For the first time in years, I felt excited about someone. Not just attracted. Excited. The kind of excitement that makes ordinary days feel lighter. The kind that makes you smile at random moments because someone crossed your mind. Emily was smart, funny, caring, and refreshingly honest. At least, that's what I thought. Because despite all the conversations we shared, I sensed there was something she wasn't telling me. Not because she was dishonest. Because she seemed afraid. Every now and then, a shadow would pass across her face. A sadness. A hesitation. Like someone carrying a secret too heavy to put down. I never pushed. I figured she would tell me when she was ready. Then came that dinner. The night everything changed. Or so I thought. We were sitting in a quiet corner of a restaurant overlooking the river. The city lights reflected off the water. She seemed nervous all evening. Barely touching her food. Looking down more than usual. Finally, she placed her fork on the table and exhaled slowly. Then she said it. I have 2 kids, so feel free to walk away now. For a moment, I didn't understand. Not because the words were confusing. Because the pain behind them was. She wasn't telling me she had children. She was preparing herself for rejection. I could see it in her eyes. The expectation. The resignation. The certainty that this was the moment I would leave. That's what broke my heart. Not the fact that she was a mother. The fact that she expected motherhood to make her unlovable. She explained everything. She had become a mother young. Her marriage ended years ago. The children's father had slowly disappeared from their lives. Since then, she had raised them mostly on her own. She worked full-time. Managed a household. Attended school events. Helped with homework. Handled every crisis. Carried every responsibility. And every time she tried dating, the same thing happened. Men liked her. Until they learned about the kids. Then came the excuses. Some left immediately. Some stayed a few weeks before disappearing. Others told her she deserved someone better suited for her situation. A polite way of saying they didn't want the responsibility. By the time she finished speaking, she looked exhausted. Like someone reliving every disappointment all over again. Then she smiled sadly. The kind of smile people wear when they're trying not to cry. And she waited for me to leave. I didn't. Instead, I asked her about them. Her children. At first she seemed confused. Then cautious. Then slowly, her face softened. She showed me photos. A 9-year-old boy named Noah. A 6-year-old girl named Lily. Noah loved science and dreamed of building robots. Lily loved drawing animals and believed every stray cat deserved a home. As Emily talked about them, something changed. The sadness disappeared. The mother emerged. Proud. Loving. Protective. I realized those children weren't baggage. They were the center of her world. And honestly, that made me respect her even more. But respect and reality are two different things. Over the following weeks, I found myself facing questions I had never expected. Could I really step into a life that already had children? Could I handle the responsibility? Could I love people I hadn't helped create? Those questions followed me everywhere. Friends offered opinions. Some encouraged me. Others warned me. A few practically begged me to run. They talked about complications. Stress. Financial obligations. Sacrifices. And they weren't wrong. Building a relationship with a single parent isn't simple. Love never exists in isolation. You don't just date one person. You step into an entire world. The more I thought about it, the more terrified I became. Not of the children. Of failing them. Because if I entered their lives, I couldn't treat it casually. Kids aren't temporary. You can't become important to them and then vanish. That kind of disappearance leaves scars. I knew that. So I took my time. And Emily gave me that space. She never pressured me. Never asked for promises. Never demanded answers. She simply continued being herself. And somehow, that made everything clearer. A month later, she invited me to meet Noah and Lily. I was more nervous than I had ever been on any first date. My palms were sweating. My heart was racing. I had no idea what to expect. The moment I arrived at the park, Lily ran straight toward me. Not because she knew me. Because she wanted to show someone the butterfly she had found. Within seconds she was explaining its colors with the seriousness of a scientist presenting groundbreaking research. Noah was quieter. More cautious. He studied me from a distance. Watching. Evaluating. Trying to determine whether I belonged there. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. His job was protecting his mother. Over the following months, I slowly became part of their lives. Not as a replacement father. Not as a hero. Just as someone who showed up. Again. And again. And again. I attended soccer games. Science fairs. Birthday parties. School performances. I helped build volcano projects. Fixed broken toys. Read bedtime stories. Sometimes the moments felt insignificant. But over time, they added up. Trust isn't built through grand gestures. It's built through consistency. Through showing up when you said you would. Through proving that your words mean something. One evening, nearly a year after meeting Emily, I was helping Noah with homework while Lily colored beside us. Emily was making dinner. The house felt warm. Peaceful. Alive. The kind of scene I never imagined for myself. Then Noah asked a question. A simple question. One that caught me completely off guard. He looked up from his notebook and asked whether I planned on staying. just staying. The room suddenly felt very quiet. I knew what he was really asking. Not about that evening. Not about the weekend. About forever. Because people had left before. Men had entered their lives and disappeared. Promises had been made and broken. Trust had been earned and abandoned. He wasn't asking for reassurance. He was asking whether he should risk believing in me. I looked at him and realized something. Somewhere along the way, these children had stopped being Emily's children. They had become Noah and Lily. People I genuinely cared about. People whose happiness mattered to me. People whose heartbreak I wanted to protect. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of that realization. I was grateful for it. So I told him the truth. I said I couldn't predict the future. Nobody could. But I also told him I wasn't looking for an exit. I was looking for a home. And if they would have me, I'd keep showing up every day. He nodded quietly. Then returned to his homework. But I noticed the small smile he tried to hide. A few months later, I proposed to Emily. Nothing extravagant. No giant crowd. No elaborate production. Just a quiet evening surrounded by the people we loved most. She cried before I even finished asking. And when she said yes, Lily started crying because everyone else was crying. Noah pretended not to cry at all. Even though we could all see he was. The wedding was beautiful. Not because it was perfect. Because it was real. There were children running around. Cake accidents. Last-minute problems. Loud laughter. Happy tears. Life. Messy, beautiful life. And standing there beside Emily, I remembered that night in the restaurant. The night she told me I could walk away. What she didn't know then was that I wasn't being offered a burden. I was being offered a family. Years have passed since then. Noah is taller now. Lily still rescues every stray animal she finds. Emily still smiles the same way she did in that bookstore. And sometimes, when the house is quiet and everyone is asleep, I think about how close I came to missing all of this. Not because I almost walked away. Because fear almost convinced me that love had to look a certain way. That families had to start a certain way. That happiness followed a specific script. It doesn't. Sometimes love arrives carrying scars. Sometimes it arrives carrying responsibilities. Sometimes it arrives carrying 2 children and years of heartbreak. And sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as complications. Before the ending, I have one special request for you. Please comment below with one word, stay. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a person can do is simply stay. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you love, or if it gave you hope that real love still exists, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach people who may need them most. The truth is, everything wasn't perfect when she told me she had 2 kids. It became better. Because perfection isn't finding someone without challenges. It's finding people worth facing those challenges for. And every single day, when I look at Emily, Noah, and Lily, I know one thing with absolute certainty. The best decision I ever made was refusing to walk away. Red Heart.